Jaya Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
it was verse 9, when it just said that Bṛhaspati knew everything that would happen in the future, seeing Indra's transgression.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaur Premanande. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parvijakaचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रीला प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से बोलो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटी, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल, ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड श्री गौरंग, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्रीला प्रभुपाद। How many of you like daylight savings? Okay. So I get an extra hour to speak now, right, Prabhu? Yeah. There was a lot of fog when I was driving from north to here today. I've never seen that so much fog. I couldn't see the mountains. It was like all foggy. It was nice. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो पंकजनाभाय नमो पंकजमालिने नमो पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रहे। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। So we are reading from Canto 6, Chapter 7, Text 16. Evam Chintayatas Tasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Adrishtam Gatim Adhyatma Mayaya Evam Chintayatas Tasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Adrishtam Gatim Adhyatma Mayaya Evam Chintayatastasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Adrishtam Gatim Adhyatma Mayaya Evam Chintayatastasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Adrishtam Gatim Adhyatma Mayaya Evam Chintayatastasya
Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Drishtam Gatam Adhyatma Mayaya Evam Chintayatastasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Drishtam Gatim Adhyatma Mayaya Evam Chintayatastasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Drishtam Gatim Adhyatma Mayaya Evam Chintayatastasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Drishtam Gatim Adhyatma Mayaya
Adhyatma Mayaya. Ladies.
Evam Chintayatastasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat
Bṛhaspati Gato Drishtam Mayaya Edam Chintayatastasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Gatim Adhyatma Mayaya
Evam Chintayatastasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Drishtam Gatim Adhyatma Mayaya Evam Chintayatastasya Maghono Bhagavan Grihat Bṛhaspati Gato Drishtam
Adhyatma Evam thus Chintayata while thinking very seriously Tasya He Maghona Indra Bhagavan, the most powerful, Grihat, from his home, Bṛhaspati, Gata, went, Adrishtam, invisible, Gatim, to a state, Adhyatma, due to being highly elevated in spiritual consciousness, Mayaya, by his potency. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. While Indra, the king of the demigods, thought in this way and repented in his own assembly, Bṛhaspati, the most powerful spiritual master, understood his mind. Thus he became invisible to Indra and left home. For Bṛhaspati was spiritually more powerful than King Indra. There is no purport, so we'll continue to the next one, to text 17. Translation. Although Indra searched vigorously with the assistance of the other demigods, he could not find Bṛhaspati. Then Indra thought, alas, my spiritual master has become dissatisfied with me, and now I have no means of achieving good fortune. Although Indra was surrounded by demigods, he could not find peace of mind. Text 18. Hearing of the pitiable condition of King Indra, the demons, following the instruction of their guru Shukracharya, equipped themselves with weapons and declared war against the demigods. 19. The demigods' heads, thighs and arms and the other parts of their bodies were injured by the sharp arrows of the demons. The demigods, headed by Indra, saw no other course than to immediately approach Lord Brahma with a bowed head for shelter and proper instruction. 20. When the most powerful Lord Brahma saw the demigods coming towards him, their bodies gravely injured by the arrows of the demons, he pacified them by his great causeless mercy and spoke as follows. So now Brahmaji is speaking to the demigods, Shri Brahma Vacha. So Lord Brahma said, O best of the demigods, unfortunately, because of madness resulting from your material opulence, you have failed to receive Bṛhaspati properly when he came to your assembly. Because he is aware of the Supreme Brahman and fully in control of his senses, he is the best of the Brahmanas. Therefore, it is very astonishing that you have acted impudently towards him. Purport by Prabhupada. Lord Brahma recognized the Brahminical qualifications of Bṛhaspati, who was the spiritual master of the demigods because of his awareness of the Supreme Brahman. Bṛhaspati was very much in control of his senses and mind, and therefore he was the most qualified Brahmana. Lord Brahma chastised the demigods for not properly respecting this Brahmana, who was their guru. Lord Brahma wanted to impress upon the demigods that one's guru should not be disrespected under any circumstances. When Bṛhaspati entered the assembly of the demigods, they and their king Indra took him for granted. Since he came every day, they thought they did not need to show him special respect. As it is said, familiarity breeds contempt. Being very much displeased, Bṛhaspati immediately left Indra's palace. Thus all the demigods, headed by Indra, became offenders at the lotus feet of Bṛhaspati. And Lord Brahma, being aware of this, condemned their neglect. In a song we sing every day, Narottam Das Thakur says, Chakshudan dilaye janme janme prabhu se. The Guru gives spiritual insight to the disciple, and therefore the Guru should be considered his master life after life. Under no circumstances should the Guru be disrespected, but the demigods, being puffed up by their material possessions, were disrespectful to their Guru. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, 17th Chapter, 27 text advises, Acharya mam vijaniyan nava manyeta kar hichit na martya buddhaya suyita. The Acharya should always be offered respectful obeisances. One should never envy the Acharya, considering him an ordinary human being. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वंदे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। So we are discussing how Bṛhaspati was offended by Indra. Bṛhaspati is the head priest of all the demigods, and Indra, as we know, is the head of all the demigods, and Bṛhaspati is the head of all the priests. So in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, among the priests I am Bṛhaspati, right? And in the same verse he also says, among all the bodies of water, I am the ocean. So there are different. So I was hearing Prabhupada's lecture, and Srila Prabhupada was telling that Krishna has come in so many different incarnations, like Ram, Krishna, Balaram, so many different expansions. And then Prabhupada so beautifully explained that how Krishna is also present as I am the ocean, I am Bṛhaspati, among abilities I am the intelligence. So Krishna is making us available in so many different ways. So when we see the ocean, we can remember Krishna. When we hear of Bṛhaspati, we can remember Krishna in so many different ways. Krishna is so omnipresent. So one very important thing that we see here is that Indra was puffed up by his material opulence. And Kunti Maharani basically also prays to Krishna in the first canto that, my dear Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. So Indra thought he is materially not exhausted, he is full of opulence. And one who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education and bodily beauty cannot approach you with sincere feeling. So Indra had everything. He had high parentage, he had education, he had a lot of wealth, he's the king. So he was so much puffed up that he did not respect his guru. So this is a beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada gives a very wonderful purport I want to read here. Sorry?
There's a very important editorial adjustment based on Prabhupada's original Delhi Bhagavatam to this translation. Okay. What's the number again? 20 what? 20?
1826.
26.
Yeah.
Here's how the translation, then you give the purport, you see how the purport goes with the translation. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted, because one who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot address you with sincere feeling.
Oh.
The whole thing is about chanting the holy name, and you'll see in the purport.
I see. Okay, thank you. So would this be reflected in further versions of Bhagavatam, Prabhuji? How's that? One day.
It's in the little 8-volume thing.
I see, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the little blue one.
Okay. So this purport is very wonderful. I just want to quickly read it. Being materially advanced means taking birth in an aristocratic family and possessing great wealth, and education and attractive personal beauty. All materialistic men are mad after possessing all these material opulences, and this is known as the advancement of material civilization. But the result is that by possessing all these material assets, one becomes artificially puffed up. intoxicated by such temporary possessions. Consequently, such materially puffed up persons are incapable of uttering the holy name of the Lord by addressing him feelingly, O Govinda, O Krishna. It is said in the Shastras that by once uttering the holy name of the Lord, the sinner gets rid of a quantity of sins that he is unable to commit. Such is the power of uttering the holy name of the Lord. There is not at the least exaggeration in this statement. Actually, the Lord's holy name has such powerful potency, but there is a quality to such utterances also. It depends on the quality of feeling. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord, whereas a man who utters the same holy name in great material satisfaction cannot be so sincere. A materially puffed up person may utter the holy name of the Lord occasionally, but he is incapable of uttering the name in quality. Therefore, the four principles of material advancement, namely high parentage, good wealth, high education and attractive beauty are, so to speak, disqualifications for progress on the path of spiritual advancement. The material covering of the pure spirit soul is an external feature, as much as fever is an external feature of the unhealthy body. The general process is to decrease the degree of fever and not to aggravate it by maltreatment. Sometimes it is seen that spiritually advanced persons become materially impoverished. There is no discouragement. On the other hand, such impoverishment is a good sign as much as falling of temperature is a good sign. The principle of life should be to decrease the degree of material intoxication which leads one to be more and more illusioned about the aim of life. Grossly illusioned persons are quite unfit for entrance into the kingdom of God. So one very nice thing Prabhupada mentions, I liked it very much here, is that while we are uttering the holy name of the Lord, if we are puffed up, we cannot utter the holy name with feelings. Just like most of the time when I go from the temple to north, I live in Rancho Bernardo. So on this crossing where the gas Shell station is there, on Garnet and what is that road? Mission Bay, I think. So there are always someone standing asking for, with a board, give me money or give me food, something like that. And they are, obviously, their clothes are not really, dilapidated and not really good. So when they ask, sometimes we have some extra prasadam, we try to give it to them. But imagine if somebody is standing with, nice gold chain, Armani jeans, Levi's jeans, and nice Gucci, goggles, and they're asking, give me prasadam. Would you give him prasadam? You would never think about giving him anything, right? So similarly, if we go to Krishna, I have everything, I have hundreds and thousands of dollars in my bank account, and I am from this high family, I am so beautiful, and everybody is trying to have a selfie with me. Then do you think when we go to Krishna and chant the holy name, that would be without feelings? But we can see like Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was the king of the world. He had everything that we can even dream of. But still, he was akinchan agochara. He never thought that, it's for my enjoyment. He thought it's the property of Krishna. So yes, we can be millionaire, we can be billionaire, but what exactly matters is the consciousness. Doesn't mean we have to be very poor to, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but it's the understanding, the consciousness, the surrender to Krishna, taking shelter of Krishna, that is what makes the difference. When, was it George Harrison? Yeah, I think when he came to Srila Prabhupada, he had beautiful long hair and he was very good at singing. He was one of the top-notch, music bands. And he came to Prabhupada, I want to shave my head, I want to surrender to you and live in the ashram. Prabhupada said, no. Krishna has given you this skill of music, you're making so beautiful albums. Dovetail this skill into the service of Krishna. Use it to make some albums for Krishna. And then he made those albums, like last time Dravida Prabhu was telling about the Happening album. And that was like in the top 10 for so many years. So we may have everything and still we engage it in the service of Krishna. So it doesn't really matter. So material qualification or disqualification is not a requirement for bhakti. Our bhakti depends on the sincerity of the heart. How sincerely we are calling for Krishna. That is most important. We have so many people like Alfred Ford, right? He's the great grandson of Henry Ford. He's the he's the one who started the Ford Motors. Ford was the first company which started what you call the assembly line of motors. Earlier people were just making one car at a time. He started the assembly line. Okay, you will put one part in this car and then next part, and it keeps going in assembly line. It was more automated. It was more faster and quicker. So, and once Prabhupada, was there, and Alfred Ford came, now Ambarish Prabhu, he came to meet Prabhupada, and Prabhupada asked him, where is Henry Ford? And when such a pure devotee asks such questions, it actually struck the heart of Alfred Ford, and he actually started thinking, yes, where is he? He has made so much wealth and everything. So he immediately surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. So it doesn't matter, whether we have these qualifications or no. Bhakti is totally independent of all of these things. And even the gopis of Vrindavan, what qualifications they had? They didn't even had a degree, college degree. Forget about a PhD. They were so simple, very simple heart. And when Akrura, he came to Vrindavan because Kansa wanted to kill Krishna, so he sent Akrura to bring both Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. And when Akrura came to call Krishna, all the gopis were crying, Krishna, don't go away, because they knew that once Krishna leaves, he will never come. And they were crying, and when Akrura was taking Krishna on the chariot, they were lying down on the ground so that the chariot couldn't move. So they were crying, and ultimately when the chariot started to move, then there was a flag on the chariot, and the gopis were still standing still to see that chariot until that flag disappeared and the dust from the chariot settled down. They couldn't see anything. And Srila Prabhupada explains that the gopis were standing like painted pictures. They had so much love for Krishna, even though they were so simple. They did not study the scriptures, they didn't memorize any Sanskrit verses. They had that natural love for Krishna. They were so simple. Yet they had the highest, prema for Krishna. And also in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, there is explanation of Kola Vecha Sridhar. Has anyone heard the story of Kola Vecha Sridhar? Yeah. So I'm sure. So I'll just quickly narrate that for those who have not. So Kola Vecha means, Kola means banana, and Vecha means one who sells, a person who sells banana. So imagine this person is so poor, he doesn't even have enough money to sustain his life because he's selling all these banana leaves and banana fruits and all those things. And nobody even knew his name, he was not so famous. People call him Kola Vecha, which is not even a name, his actual name was Sridhar. And he would sell on the streets of Navadip, and Nimai would go there and start to argue with him that, okay, how much is this banana leaf? And I won't pay you this much money. He would negotiate. And this Kola Vecha Sridhar was like, he was praying to God, somehow or the other I should sell it to him and I shouldn't make enough profit, let them take it. That's how he will think. He was so simple. And whatever profit he got, 50% he would spend in worshipping Mother Ganga. So one day, Nimai was arguing with him over the price of the banana leaves. And then he said that, Nimai said to Kola Vecha that, Sridhar, that you are so poor, you are worshipping Mother Ganga, you are worshipping Krishna. What has Krishna given you? You do not have any money. Your clothes are, all torn apart. You have holes in your clothes and you have to tie like one hole to another hole. That's how, you sustain your clothes. It means you're so poor that you cannot even afford a needle or a thread. And then your house is, beaten up. There is water drops from the top when it is raining. Your shed is also not working. Nothing is there. So very nicely Sridhar explains that I do not care, whether I have opulence or not, because what I see, like a bird has a pair of feathers, that's her clothes. And the bird lives in a nest, they make a nest with the straws. And whatever they get for eating, like berries or whatever, they just sustain. So I see no difference between a bird and a king living in palace. Because ultimately both are looking for happiness. So, and I am very happy chanting the holy names of Krishna. So I do not want anything. So he said, my only prayer is I can continue like this, throughout my whole life. And then later Nimai Pandit actually showed his real form as Krishna. And blessed him. So that was these are some examples like Yudhishthir Maharaj, Kula Vichar Sridhar, Gopis of Vrindavan, that there is no qualification for bhakti. If there was some qualification for bhakti, then how did Sudama got the mercy of the Lord? He was also not opulent. And there is no restriction of age also. If age was a restriction, then how did Dhruv Maharaj or Prahlad Maharaj got the mercy of Krishna? Right? And if parentage was a qualification, then how did Vidura, who was a son of a maid, or even Narada Muni, how did they got to the highest platform of perfection of yoga, bhakti yoga? So these are not, there is no limitation for, worshipping Krishna. Anybody and everybody can worship at any time, chanting the holy names. There is no, like Mahaprabhu says, there is no hard and fast rules for chanting the holy names of the Lord. So, next very interesting point here is that Bṛhaspati could have cursed Indra. So Mukund Charan Prabhu just shared me the verse, text 9, where it is, Prabhupada writes in the translation that Bṛhaspati could have cursed Indra, but he did not curse. He just left the assembly. But in Bhagavatam, we see so many different places, like devotees were cursed, like Chitraketu was cursed, or even Parikshit Maharaj was cursed for having done nothing, by Shringi. So, but here he did not curse. So I thought maybe we'll share a quality of forgiveness, that a guru has, or the Vaishnavas should have the quality of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean that somebody can keep abusing us. There has to be acts of justice when it is required. But at the same time, if we just, keep complaining about small things, then doesn't... So for forgiveness, I wanted to share that it's one of the most prominent quality that Lord Chaitanya taught to all of us. And we know that in Mahabharata, Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was doing so much austerities. He did not get the kingdom from the childhood. He was like, because his father was not there. And Duryodhana tried to kill him, in so many different ways. But still he forgave Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. And he even asked, okay, give me a little land, at least I can just live there. But Duryodhana did not, even Dhritarashtra did not give him anything. So he still forgave them. Because after the war, when Duryodhana was killed, Yudhishthira took care of Dhritarashtra. So he forgave him. And another example from Mahabharata is Vidura. Vidura was blasphemed by Duryodhana so much, and he was asked to leave the palace. And he said, you cannot take anything with you. Not your wife, not your possessions, not your clothes, nothing. You can just take your life breath. That's all. But still, Vidura, he came back. And after the war, and also he tried to convince Dhritarashtra that, you are living like a dog with your enemy. You should just leave and go to the mountains and just take shelter of God. So still he forgave it. So forgiveness is not like, you are thinking, oh, I forgave him, so I am very great. It's without ego. So that is true forgiveness. In Ramayana, we see like Bharat Maharaj, he was very angry with his mother, Kaikeyi, because she is the one who actually convinced Dashrath that Ram should be banished. So he was very, very angry with his mother. And then when Lord Ram came, he said, you should forgive your mother. And he even asked his mother Kaushalya that you should forgive Kaikeyi for whatever she has done. And even Ram was ready to forgive Ravana. He said, if Ravana gives back Sita, I am ready to forgive him for whatever mistake he did. So in Ramayana there is a verse which says that Sakradeva prapanno me tavasmiti saya achate. So which says that Lord Ram says, if somebody surrenders to me once, I promise him that I'll protect him. So even if somebody commits a mistake, if he is surrendering to Krishna, Krishna will forgive him. All these qualities obviously are coming from Krishna. And we know in Bhagavatam, Dhruv Maharaj was a little boy, and his mother Suruchi, she insulted him, and he went to the forest and he started worshipping Krishna. And after he came back, he got a bigger kingdom than his great-grandfather, Lord Brahma. He still came back and he forgave his mother for whatever she had done. Prahlad Maharaj. We know Prahlad Maharaj, his father Hiranyakashipu was trying to murder him, right, so badly. And when when Hiranyakashipu asked him that, what is the subject that is your favorite that you learnt in the school? He could have just said economics or something. But he says, my dear father, you are thinking that you are this body, you are identifying yourself with this body, and you have fallen into a deep, dark well. You should get out of it and you should go to Vrindavan. And you should smear the dust of the devotees on your head. And he was more and more angry. The only thing he could have avoided all these things is said, I just like economics or something. So, but he has to go through so many trials and tribulations, right? But still, after Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narsinghadev, he said, my dear Lord, please forgive my father. Give him liberation. So Narsinghadev not only forgave him, but also the 21 generations. And another example we see is Ambarish Maharaj's, pastime where, as we all know, Durvasa Muni, he got angry for a small thing. Ambarish Maharaj didn't even break his fast. He just took little Charnamrit because it was time to break the fast, and he did not eat anything because he was waiting for Durvasa Muni to come back. And Durvasa Muni became so angry that he created a demon and sent after Ambarish Maharaj. But then since Ambarish Maharaj is a devotee of Krishna, Krishna sent a Sudarshan Chakra after, Durvasa Muni, and he started running all over the places. He went to Brahma and then Vishnu. He says, finally he went to Vishnu, and Durvasa Muni said, my dear Lord, I am taking shelter of you. Where is your heart? And Lord Vishnu said that I have given my heart to my devotees, to my devotee Ambarish, because he has given my heart to me. So you should go to him. So after all this episode, Ambarish Maharaj didn't say to Durvasa Muni, oh, you see, I am so great, such a great devotee that, Krishna helped me. He was actually sorry. Oh, because of me, I couldn't give you food. You had to run so many different places. So when we forget, it's not with ego or with attitude that, see, I forgive you. It's not like that. It should be genuine forgiveness. And we also see the pastime of Srila Prabhupada often quotes Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was also preaching the message of the Lord, and people said that, oh, he's the king. So those who are envious of him, he said, okay, you are the king. So they made a crown of thorns and stuck him on his head, and all the blood was coming out of him, and they crucified him and nailed his hands and feet and so many things. So in public. But what did Jesus Christ say? He said, my Father in heaven, please forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Right? And this is one of the most important principles of Christianity, right? The principle of forgiveness among all other different principles. So, and then we also see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was criticized by Ramchandra Puri. Ramchandra Puri said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you eat too much. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could have invoked Sudarshan and cut his head for that. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to it, and he stopped eating a lot. He started eating less. So there are so many different episodes that we see here. And then one of the important stories I liked about is Bhrigu Muni, because see, who can forgive, who can tolerate? So Prabhupada says that the greatness of a person can be estimated by the fact how he tolerates provoking situations, right? So if we do not have any provoking situation, we can say, oh, I can forgive everybody. If you have never come across this situation, you can say, I have a big heart and I can forgive anybody. But unless that provoking situation comes to you, you cannot be tested. Right? So Bhrigu Muni wanted to test who's the most tolerant, who's the most forgiving. So he went to Brahmaji, and he went to Brahma, and he didn't speak anything. He just kind of ignored him, and Brahma was very angry. He came to meet me and he's not speaking anything, so he became angry. So that is offense. He offended him by his mind. He didn't say anything, didn't act anything. So he understood, okay, I have to move on. So he went to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva was, welcoming him. He said, okay, he was going to embrace him. And Bhrigu Muni said, he used words. He said, you smell like a crematorium. You associate with all these ghosts and you put ashes on your body. I don't want to embrace you. And he was so angry. He picked up his trident, and Parvati said, no, stop. So he understood, okay, now I have to move on. Then he went to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu was just lying down, and Bhrigu Muni went there, and Lord Vishnu came to embrace him. He immediately jumped, and then he kicked his chest like that. And on the chest, Lord Vishnu has a silver hair, which is the place for Lakshmi to sit. It's called Srivatsa. And Lord Vishnu said, I am sorry, my dear Bhrigu Muni, my chest is very strong, and your foot is probably very soft, so let me massage it. It might have got hurt, so let me please massage it. And then Bhrigu Muni understood that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he is so tolerant and forgiving. So like that. I'm sorry, looks like everybody is feeling sleepy because of daylight saving. It is the time to do kirtan, but we are listening Bhagavatam. So yeah, these are. So what is important to us is to focus on our goal. What is our goal? Our goal is to love Krishna and to please Krishna, and we should adjust everything according to that. That is the goal. And so, how much time do we have, Prabhu? 8:30. Okay, I'll finish in 5 minutes. Yeah. So, and our goal is also to preach the message. So, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Sono sono Nityananda, sono Hari Dasa, sarvatra amara agya, koro prakasha, prati ghare ghare kiya, koro ei bhiksha, bolo Krishna bhajo Krishna, koro Krishna siksha. So what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying to Nityananda and Haridas, that what you should do is, you listen to my orders are that you should go to each and every house. Simply disseminate my order everywhere. Go from house to house and beg the residents and speak about Krishna, worship about Krishna, and teach others about Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving this message to us, and our Guru Parampara, like Srila Prabhupada, is also telling us to first, learn, and then to teach. Learn, implement, teach. So that's the, circle. And this verse also tells about the importance of Guru, how important, Guru is. If we do not respect the Guru Parampara, the Gurus, then, it is very difficult for us to actually inculcate the seed of Bhakti within our hearts. It's very difficult. Like in the scriptures, it is said that Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasyati katitam yartha prakashante mahatmana. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So simply by rendering service to the spiritual master, one can cross the ocean of nations and return home back to Godhead. So, and then gradually he sees the Supreme Lord face to face and enjoys life in association with the Lord. So we saw recently His Holiness Kadambakanand Swami Maharaj left his body in Vrindavan, right? Krishna Balram temple. I was watching that Samadhi procession. It was so beautiful. Devotees were dancing in the Krishna Balram Mandir and his Samadhi was, taken. So, and most beautiful thing is when he was leaving his body, he turned to his back and his eyes were wide open and he, just opened his arms and he left his body. How many people would actually, leave like that? A lot of devotees, leave the body by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We have examples here in San Diego. So that is he has so much faith in Srila Prabhupada. That is the result, the fruit of that faith, the Bhakti Lata Bij, that our life is successful. So let us offer our sincerest gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, that by his compassion we are getting the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let us pray that we can remain focused on the highest principle of being the servant of the servant, truly living in a spirit beyond selfishness, immorality, dishonesty. And honesty means, Krishna, everything belongs to you. I am yours. And everyone is a child, so let me serve you. Please give me a taste for the holy name of the Lord and the awakening of a deep loving desire to serve you, love you, and please you as a servant of the servant. So let this be our prayer. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Any comments, questions? Yes, Rasika Sindhu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the nice class.
Thank you.
You were mentioning the important point that which struck me was you forgive, but we should not develop ego as a result of that, right? So at a particular situation, how do we know whether we should forgive or we should just walk away, or we should how to behave? I mean, one thing which comes to my mind is we follow the Shastra. I mean, if it is there in the Shastra and Guru, although we don't have a feeling or not, we do it. So, I mean, I'm having this kind of a confusion as to, how to behave at a particular at a particular situation, right? I mean, what should be our appropriate behavior, although we may have the feeling or not. Is my thought clear, or it's
No, bro.
no? Yeah,
It's clear as mud.
yeah. Even I'm also trying to phrase it properly.
If anybody understood, you can explain me.
He is trying to say that how to differentiate whether to forgive or not to forgive.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. What is the basis of, at a particular situation, how do you decide, okay, now I need to forgive him, and now, or no, I need to walk away from here,
Not forgive.
Yeah.
Both. I mean, the mercy of Prabhu, you want to answer it? No, you go ahead. Yeah.
Like,
there was a time where one disciple of Srila Prabhupada did something quite offensive towards Srila Prabhupada. And then this devotee, he was remembering, and he was telling other devotees this particular instance. And he said, this is what he said. He said, I offended Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada, I was sitting with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada told me, personally, Prabhupada said, I am withdrawing my mercy from you.
Oh, I see.
And then at that particular point, that devotee, like, like he really felt it. I think he started to cry, Prabhupada said, I'm withdrawing my mercy from you. So then you could say, oh, well, that means that, was Prabhupada forgiving him? I mean, it was kind of like a punishment, So we shouldn't think that forgiveness is like, because sometimes people say, hey, I offended you and you're a devotee, so you should forgive me immediately. But what if we're humans, we have a sense of, we're not stupid,
Yeah.
So we have a sense that if somebody's actually being sincere or not. You could kind of sense, is somebody being sincere? And sometimes people come to us and they don't really seem to be so sincere in their apology. So then the question is, well, why should we immediately, accept that apology? It has to be a sincere apology.
Yeah.
Like in the Madhurya Kadambini, there was Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he's talking about what to do in this whole Vaishnava aparad, business means one devotee is offending another devotee, right? So he says that the devotee who offended the devotee should go to that devotee and they should ask for forgiveness. But he says, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, sometimes that devotee may not forgive immediately. And he's not talking about, like, as far as it looks, in my understanding, as far as it looks, they're not talking about neophytes. He's talking about, strong devotees. A devotee may not immediately accept the apology or the forgiveness. So how are you supposed to know whether to forgive or not? Well, we try to forgive as much as possible. Even if somebody doesn't, we may think, oh, they're not being sincere, or whatever we think. We should try to forgive, because devotee means they're very compassionate, they're very merciful, they shouldn't be holding any grudges. Rajendrananda Prabhu tells this story of his life, how, I don't want to be dragging this out, but Rajendrananda Prabhu tells a story of his life, how he offended one of his friends. And he said his friend didn't speak with him for like a year. A Prabhupada disciple. And also, I should say that Rajendrananda Prabhu accepted this devotee as very advanced. He didn't think that, oh, he's some neophyte or something.
Yeah.
He accepted that this devotee is very advanced. But this devotee didn't speak with him for a year. And then this devotee, at one particular point, Rajendrananda Prabhu went up to him and he said, Prabhu, I apologize, I'm sorry. What can I do, And then this devotee, he took his cane and he hit him in the leg. And then Rajendrananda Prabhu just,
Accepted that.
Accepted, and then after that everything is okay. And then they're talking. Anyways, Rajendrananda Prabhu, he mentions this as this devotee being very advanced in Krishna consciousness. So how to understand this? It's kind of difficult to understand.
Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra.
Yeah, it's difficult to understand. But the basic thing is I would say, like, the bottom line is we try to forgive immediately. Why?
Yeah.
Because holding this grudge is, Vaishnavas shouldn't hold any grudges.
Yeah,
right?
and it will create problem for you also. So one thing is, if somebody offends you, Prabhu, what we should do is, obviously, our main goal is to follow these 4 regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds, right? If we are focused on this big fish, like a crane, all the small fishes are passing by and crane is just looking at a big fish. If we look at the main goal, and if there is some small, things, if there is some small insult here and there, some small discomfort here and there, so what? As compared to the great opportunity that lies ahead of us to go back to Godhead. So what? Small things here and there really doesn't matter. But if it is serious, there is abuse, and if you think because of this, other innocent people can get affected, then definitely we should not forgive. We should take it to the right authority and, kind of resolve that in a way that it doesn't create groupism or partitions among the community. So in a very Vaishnava way. But yes, if there is abuse, there is something serious, then we should not forgive. But yeah, within the heart we can forgive, but we should at least notify it and we should bring it up. And other thing is, it also depends on the relationship. If it is a husband-wife relationship, right, there are always fights.
In that case, you should forgive immediately.
So like Mahatma Gandhi had a fight with his wife Kasturba Gandhi once, and Mahatma Gandhi was very angry with her, and she said, "Get out of here." He asked his wife, "Get out of here," and she went out. And after a few hours, Mahatma Gandhi opened the door and he saw that she's just sitting on the steps. He said, "Why didn't you go away?" She said, "I don't have anywhere to go. This is my house." And then he said, "Okay, come in." So basically the principle is to forgive and forget in this relationship. And the most important advice that I have got, and even, Ashram Maharaj was a Grihastha for 50 years, I was taking some tips. He said, just listen to your wife. He said, I wish I knew this before. So, because they are emotional, they want you to listen to them. So, yeah, it depends. If it is brahmachari and brahmachari, then the dynamics is little different, but obviously the principle of a brahma...
You don't have to listen to each other, right?
Yeah.
That's a problem in the ashram, too. Not listening.
Yeah, but brahmachari should actually focus on the best thing one brahmachari can give other brahmachari is telling about Krishna, sharing Krishna with each other. When Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was a Grihastha, he said in Shuddha Bhakta, one bhajan, he says, whenever I go home, I see my home as Vaikuntha. Already Bhakti Vinod Thakur has how many? 10 children. And his wife Bhagavati is taking care of them. Imagine 10 children, somebody is getting sick, somebody is getting hurt, and somebody is getting, fighting with each other, somebody is hungry. How would you manage 10 kids? You can't imagine nowadays. But still he says, my house is like Vaikuntha. Imagine how they are handling. So this is an inspiration. He was a magistrate, right? He's one of the acharyas. And all the Mahajan, out of the 14 Mahajans, there are so many Grihasthas. Swambhu, Narada, Shiva, right? Prahlad, so many. So main thing is, if we keep Krishna in the center with the instructions, we live our life in that mood, then definitely it will be very nice. It requires some tolerance, but that's okay. Yes. Yes, bro. Oh.
Well, anyway.
Yes, Prabhu, yeah. We have 1 hour today. It's, daylight saving, so let's celebrate it. I'm sure none of us are hungry. Unless you are hungry, you're free to go.
Well, he usually takes he needs a little time to perfect the burritos.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to go back to the verse and also where we're at in the chapter. I was looking at the disciplic succession, and I don't see Bṛhaspati in there, and that might be my own foolishness to not know why he's not in the line of acharyas. Because it's before the disciplic succession? Is that the simple answer? So I'm wondering, he's such an important guru. He's guru to Indra, but he's not in our line of acharyas. So can you resolve that? It might be simple, but...
Dravida Prabhu may resolve that better than me.
There's all kind of great souls who are in that line.
Who was his guru then? That begs the question.
I don't know. I forget. But the point is that even you look at our line, you find at the end of the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, So there's all little lines coming off of those devotees. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not that because he's not in the line that we see that he's not an exalted acharya. There's literally these other lines coming off and they're very important souls, but because they don't, it's like your own genealogy. If you find it out, it goes back, and you trace it. And there's all kinds of other uncles and aunts and cousins and things coming off there, but you don't pay attention. You're just looking for the straight line. Anyway, we can talk about it later.
Thank you. Sorry, bro. Anyone online? Any comments or? Dhanwari Mataji, are you there? Generally, she's there. Looks like daylight saving is, probably everyone is resting. I don't know. So one more story, if you have, on this topic, I just want to share, if you allow me. So there was a disciple of Prabhupada, So it's about the instructions of a guru, following the instructions. So one disciple went to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I want to chant the whole day. I don't want to do any service. I don't want to do anything. And Srila Prabhupada said, no, you should do service also. You can't chant, you're not at that platform. And this devotee thought that this instruction is not for me. Prabhupada gave this instruction to everyone else. He thought, I am very much advanced, so that's why probably, I will just do it. I won't listen to my guru. So he started doing this. He went to Mayapur and he did that for 6 months. And one time a devotee pulled into a gas station and he saw this devotee was, working there, this Babaji. So he said, what happened to you? He said, you know what, now I have a wife and kids to support, so I'm working. And he asked him that, do you chant Hare Krishna anymore? He said, I chanted enough in those 6 months, so there's no need for me to chant anything. So I have that credit, just like credit card, I have enough credit in my balance, so Harinam credit. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Kirtaniya Sadahari, which means that when you are more humble and tolerant than a tree, in that mood only you can chant. If you are very puffed up, I chant so many rounds, I am better than you, and it's very difficult. And you do not accept the instructions of the spiritual master, it's very difficult to, progress in the spiritual life. You should not think that I am even better than this devotee or that devotee. He doesn't know anything. Just like a sun. There are so many rays coming from the sun. Does one ray tell other ray, I am better than you? Imagine how the sun will feel. Similarly, all of us are parts and parcel of Krishna. Vasudev Kutumbakam. So how will Krishna feel if we try to, beat others down or think I am better than them? And Krishna will not be pleased. That's why the cardinal principle of Vaishnava philosophy is Jivera Surup Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. We are the servant of Krishna. We serve Srila Prabhupada, all the devotees in the mood of servant of the servant. Only then Radha Giridhari will open their arms for us. And at the time of death, they are already inviting us. In Bhagavad Gita, there are so many places where Krishna is inviting us. Manmana bhavmat bhakto madhyaji mam satyam te pratijani priyosi mein, that you come to me. Sarv dharman parityaja mamekam. So many different places he is inviting us. Krishna is already inviting us. Radharani is inviting us. But we have to go to them. And this prayer, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is actually the prayer to connect to them, to reciprocate with their feelings. Hey Krishna, hey Srimati Radha, please engage me in your service. They are already inviting us. We also have to bring forth the desire that, yes, I am also interested. I want to come to you. So that is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is the prayer. When Gopakumar went to spiritual world, Krishna was waiting. He embraced Gopakumar in the spiritual world. That because of me, you had to take so many problems in this world. I welcome you. I was waiting for you. Yes, Prabhu.
I've forgotten what I was going to mention because not enough sleep. But I just wanted to recommend this. Everyone, I think, was aware that Kadamba Kanan Maharaj has left his body. And I was on Dandabats.com, and there was something that said the last message from Kadamba.
Yeah.
And he actually, did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, he's struggling a little for breath. You know, but it's very, very powerful. And I highly recommend it. You just look in YouTube, or I think on Dandabats, search for the last message, Kadamba, and you'll see that he's just instructing his disciples and anyone who has been inspired by him, and appealing for them to be strict in their vows and the 4 regular principles and so forth. But the whole mood of it and the fact that he took that trouble, he's obviously took a lot of effort to do that. I've never seen anything like it. So. Just check it out. You'll see it'll be very inspiring.
Yeah. That's very nice message. It's on YouTube also. If you search, Dandvat or YouTube, you'll find it. Yeah. Maharaj did a lot for, Prabhupada. I was hearing about his story. He was in Vrindavan and he got shot in the temple. Somebody shot him. And he explains that shot is not like in the movies. You get shot and you are okay the next day. He said it really pains for months. His body was not anymore like before it was before. He endured so much pain for Srila Prabhupada. His contributions are like immense.
I don't know a lot of the details, but some said that in the Vrindavan temple, there seemed to be some groups of devotees who really shouldn't have been there, living there. They were not really following and maybe engaging in some criminal activity or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like one of the managers there. So he was trying to clean it up, get certain people out, and they didn't like that.
Yeah.
And he was in the Brahmacharya ashram, and he was it was in the bathroom, and then they put their hand up, like with the gun, and then they just shot him there, And he said he hit the ground, and I'm not sure if they ever found out who it was, but no one was around, and it said he had to crawl out of the bathroom because he said if he wouldn't have crawled, then if he wouldn't have made it out of the bathroom, he would have just died. So he had to struggle to get out of the bathroom. Then eventually, someone found him there, and then they. But yeah, it was in the line of service. This bullet, it wasn't like random, but it was in the line of service. He was serving Prabhupada and trying to make sure the purity was there, and then somebody did that. So it's quite amazing, actually. So,
yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.